Hello quilty peeps, I'm Shelly. Welcome to my channel. Today in this video I just want to share with you what it is I'm working on right now. I made this cute little needle book for my hand applique, my new obsession, or at least my newest hand obsession I should say. I love to put hand embroidery on a quilt block, as you can see from here. And if you're thinking, yes, there's a lot of stitches there, there sure are. And if you're also thinking, ooh, I bet that took her a long time, it did. But guess what? Handwork isn't about how fast you can do something. It's about the slow, methodical, soothing nature of handwork. It's very meditative. It's like watching the water go out and the water come in when you get to the beach. Anyway, so these are the first two little blocks that I did, this one, and I decided to put them together and make a little needle book to hold my hand applique needles, my pins, my needle, some more needles, and then some little scissors. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I put this together. And what I really hope is you get inspired to go make yourself a needle book, because it's a lot of fun. And they're so cute. So happy sewing, y'all. All right, here I have my two little blocks that I hand appliqued. Funky, very folk arty. Is my hand applique great? No, but they're really cute and folk arty, and that's fine. And I think I'm excited to make a needle book out of this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this thing up. And no, I don't have a pattern for this. I've been sewing a long time, so I'm just going to wing this. And that's where I'm letting y'all see how my process works. All right, it's trimmed up. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pocket, which I think I'll do in this. And I should have enough of this left where I can bind it, or maybe I want to bind it in this. Let's see. I really like best. Let's look at it and audition it. Yeah, let's bind it in this. We'll use this for the pocket. Okay. And then I have this big piece of wool that I'm going to use as my needle. We'll cut it down and I can use it here to hold the needles. Okay. I need a pocket. How big do I need that pocket to be? Let's see. I want this pocket to be deep enough so I can put needles in and my little pins and a small pair of scissors. Okay, that looks good. So we'll make this pocket. It's a little under 3 inches. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to cut a 3-inch strip and we'll make it 3 inches. Plus, I'm going to fold the top over because I don't want a raw edge. Okay, I'm going to go over and I'm going to press this 1/4 of an inch over, and I'm going to come and top stitch this so that I don't have any raw edges on the top of my pocket. I'll be back. Okay, you can see how I've top stitched that down so I don't have any raw edges. Now I need to trim this. And now I'm going to go sew right here. Okay. So technically, since I'm putting a binding on this, I really didn't need to stitch right here, but I did. The next thing I want to do is put a pocket here so I can hold some needles. So I'm going to give myself a little mark here. I'm going to give myself a little room there, so there's plenty of room in there. And I'm going to stitch this by hand. I'm going to stitch this by hand, but not going through all 3 layers, just this layer and the batting. I do not want to go through to the other side, but I want my little pocket there. So let me sew that by hand. Okay, I've got this leftover piece of Aurifil 12 weight that I'm going to use to stitch this up, and I'm just going to do a running stitch that doesn't go through to the front. And then, yeah. So I'm going to go where I put the mark, and I've got this Aurifil 12 weight, and the stitch I'm going to use is very much like the stitch I would do if I were doing big stitch hand quilting, but I'm not going all through all 3 layers. So here we go. I'm going to go stitch up and come back down. Okay, so the whole time that I'm sewing this, I'm actually, with my fingers on the bottom, making sure I'm only going through 2 layers, which is the back layer with the pocket and the binding. I don't go all the way through to the front. And let's go another row of stitching. And we'll have a little separation of our pocket. I'm just going to tie this knot off, and I am going to pop that knot. I really don't need to, but I just love popping that knot through. Okay, and look, I have a spot right here just for my little needles, my tulip needles that I like. And then I'm going to sew a spot, I'm going to sew my wool down, and that also will give me a divider, so a place to put my pins right here. And then, of course, over here, my scissors will nest perfectly. Okay, so let's trim up this wool. That looks good. Okay, this is give this one more little trim. Okay, I'm just going to go sew right there. This needlebook's almost done. Okay, I've sewn that. Now let's cut some binding and we'll get this little beauty bound. I generally like to cut my binding at 2 3/8, but because this needlebook is small, even though I'm going to machine stitch it down on both sides, I'm going to cut at 2 1/4. Let me cut one more strip, then I'll go make binding and sew it onto my needlebook. Okay, so I went and pressed my binding and sewed it down. And now I'm going to turn my edges over. I did sew this with a very scant 1/4 inch, by the way. And just going to go over to the iron and press this down. I'm also going to use some Elmer's glue to secure this down so that when I sew this, I don't have to have pins. There it is. And then you can see I glued it down, so I was able to sew this down. Elmer's is your friend when you're machine binding, my friends. Just sewed all the way around here to secure it. And we're almost done. Cute, huh? So now I have this ribbon that my coworker I got. Actually, I have this ribbon that I got from my coworker. She was sent flowers, and I saw her ribbon, and I said, "Are you going to do anything with that?" And she said, "No." So guess who went home with the ribbon? Okay, I've got my ribbon here. I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to take it and I'm going to lay it like this and sew a little short little seam right there. And then I'll fold this over and sew another little seam right on top of it to secure it. Okay, my ribbon is now secured onto the needle book. Ah, this ribbon is just luscious. I'm going to feel like I'm opening a beautiful present every time I open it. Okay, here's a place for my needles. And my little applique pens. Love these pens. And then a little place for my scissors. So I've got some needles I want to go ahead and put in this book. These are my milliner needles. I like to hand applique with them, but they're harder to see to thread sometimes. You have to be in bright light. And then on the other side, I'm going to put my number 10 applique needles. They're a little easier to thread, even though I'm using Aurifil 80 weight. Okay. Ah, beautiful, luscious ribbon. This is like tying up a gift. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, look how cute this is, y'all. Okay. I hope you're inspired to make yourself a needle book. Happy sewing out there, y'all. She's a beauty and she was fun to make.